Hey everybody, Brandon Boyd with The Brandon Boyd Show. Thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to be awesome. Give me a big thumbs up on the video. If you find this one in particular helpful or entertaining, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notifications for alerts. I appreciate everyone's support so far. And this is going to be a different episode. I have never put one of these up on the channel before, but I'm really excited about this one. I'm going to do a reaction to a Dave Ramsey video. Somebody sent this to me on Facebook, I think it was, and I haven't had the chance to see it yet, but I'm really interested to watch it. You want to know why? Because I was actually a Dave Ramsey financial coach for a number of years. I've listened to thousands of hours of his show. I know what he's going to say before he even says it. I'm not kidding you. My wife and I would play this stupid game in the car where we would listen to the caller's call and pause it and see if we could answer it like Dave would, and 99 times out of 100, I was able to do that. It's pretty scary. How much do I like him? Oh, God. I've got a few of his books here. His daughter's book, you know, the other people that work in the Ramsey group. I've got an autographed book from Dave Ramsey. Heck, I even drove down to Nashville, Tennessee from Lexington, Kentucky to do my debt-free scream with my wife several years ago, and here is a picture of that. All right, so I know him. We don't send each other Christmas cards every year or anything like that, but I've met him. He's a really nice guy and gives really good advice, I will say that. And if you're not familiar with Dave Ramsey, just a quick 10 seconds on who he is. He's a very well-respected financial guru that preaches his 7 baby steps that focus on getting out of debt, staying out of debt, never using a credit card or debt of any kind, and he teaches his listeners how to build wealth. He has the second largest radio audience in the country, and he knows quite a bit. I differ from Dave a little bit now. If you know Dave Ramsey at all, you probably know from watching this channel how we differ, and it's in the sense that I use credit cards and I like to earn points and miles. Dave Ramsey will never, under any circumstance whatsoever, recommend that you get a credit card. He hates them. He doesn't use them. He only uses debit cards. And from the title of this video, I'm assuming that's what he's going to talk about here. It says, "Are credit cards bad? I never pay interest and they make me money." So my guess is that this is going to be a caller calling in and maybe asking a question about, hey, I use credit cards, I don't pay interest. Why are they so bad? So we'll get into it. I'm going to give my honest reaction here, and we'll see how it goes, okay? It's going to be interesting. Again, I'm a Dave Ramsey fan. I like what he talks about. I think a lot of what he says is true, but there are some big points, some big holes in his argument, and we may get to them here. We'll see how it goes, but I say we just dive right in. Let's go. Pull this a little closer to me.
Bob's with us in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Hey, Bob, how are you?
I know how you are. Yeah, how am I? That's the question.
There you go, man. How can I help?
He's always got a smile, right?
Dave, I've heard you talk a number of times about your views on credit cards, and I had not really heard and I can't get my mind around why. I view them actually as an investment where they're paying me to use that for the month. I never pay interest on them. I get points or cash back or all kinds of stuff. So I mean, I just don't understand why it's such a bad thing to use them.
All right, I think before we get into it here, if I'm playing the Dave Ramsey game and trying to figure out how he would answer this question, I would say that Dave is going to say something like, you know, you're not making any money, you're actually spending more money when you use plastic. I know he always quotes the study that shows that you spend 15 to 20 to 25% more when you use plastic versus using cash. So he's probably going to say something about overspending on it, would be my guess, and that he's probably seen thousands of people or heard thousands of people call into his radio show about how badly they can get into debt with credit cards and that they can be a dangerous tool. That's just a guess. Let's keep going. Hit the play button. There we go.
Here to address that.
Sure, absolutely. Well, the thing is this. You're probably not going to stop using them after this conversation, but I'll address the question anyway.
That's a good point.
Okay?
Yes, I would like to know.
Yeah, the reason is really simple. I've met with thousands of millionaires, and I have never met a single millionaire that says, by the fact that I'm ripping off the credit card company with 1 month's worth of interest on the amount of my purchases, and I got Discover points back or airline miles back, that's what made me wealthy. I've never heard that ever.
Okay, pause real quick. So I understand what Dave is saying in the sense that, you know, he doesn't talk to a lot of millionaires that say they made their fortune off earning points and miles. And I'm not saying that either. Just to get this out of the way, and this is going to sound weird to say, but I've got to say it, Dave Ramsey did help my family become millionaires, okay? We've reached a status that we're really excited about. So he is correct in saying that the points and miles and credit cards didn't make us the money. No, I think that's a false argument altogether. The reason that I use points and miles is to enjoy life. Travel for free. Do the things that I would otherwise never pay cash for. Never. But if it's on points or reward certificates, heck yeah, I'm going to travel and do it. So no, I think this is a false argument from Dave. Points and miles are about living the life that you want to live and getting the perks that you may otherwise not get when you pay cash. Okay, so it's a false argument. I don't really like that one too much from him, but we'll see what else he says.
Because it has never occurred. That's why I've never heard it. It's mathematically impossible.
What I just said.
Right.
And so you're playing around with a bunch of snakes, acting like you're doing something sophisticated, and it's not sophisticated. You're just playing with snakes. You've gotten away with it. You haven't been bit yet because you're very disciplined and very careful, and you're obviously a smart person intellectually, and so you've pulled it off. But you're not building wealth as a result of this.
No,
not even close. Not even close.
Right.
It's not even a good tool. It's just a gimmick. And so, I mean, it's just, the whole process is just a joke, is what it comes down to. And on the other hand, I have met, and I'm not saying this is you because it's not you, but I've met thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people who have had their lives ravaged by credit cards. Now, I don't think that's going to happen to you because I think you're pretty disciplined. I will grant you that. I will stipulate that in the conversation. But overall, all I see is downside. So basically, I had a relative.
All right, so again, he's saying that basically credit cards are a tool that there are only negatives, right? There's no positives with them. I will agree with him somewhat. Credit cards can be a very dangerous tool if you do not know how to use them properly and if you're not set up with a financial plan to pay them off every month. If you're paying 15, 20% interest on credit cards every month and only making the minimum payments on cards, you are not winning the credit card points and miles game. The reason that I share so much information about credit cards is because if you are disciplined and you have the proper strategy in place, you can use them to your advantage. The credit card companies pay billions of dollars in marketing to get credit cards into your hands and make money off of you. The reason that you subscribe to this channel is because I show you ways to outsmart the credit card companies, put the points and miles in your wallet, and travel and live the life you want to live. So Dave is incorrect in the sense that it's not just a tool for bad stuff. There's a lot of people that misuse them, but there are people that are disciplined, that are interested in strategies that can outsmart the credit card companies. So we'll keep going here.
Who smoked, 2 packs a day, and it finally killed him at 86, right? And so he used to laugh about that. He's like, I smoked 2 packs a day my whole dadgum life, and it killed me at 86. And he's like, in other words, cigarettes didn't kill him. His old age got him, right? And so it's not the end of the world. But does that mean that cigarettes are okay because he got away with it? No, it doesn't. It still means it's a stupid idea. They still kill you. They cause lung cancer. They shorten your life. They give you bad breath, everything else. I mean, there's no upside to smoking, only a downside. And that's what the deal is here. There's no upside to this. The upside's
There is upside to this, Dave. There is a lot of upside to this. Okay, I think he's missing out on quite a bit here. Maybe Dave's never traveled on points and miles and traveled for free, but heck, he's worth tens of millions of dollars, so he probably doesn't even have to worry about it. But I do. Let's keep going.
joke. 78% of the airline miles, that's 8 out of 10 of them, are never redeemed. And if you try to redeem them, you have to fly in the back corner of the latrine, and your spouse is on 4, and you change planes 16 times to get somewhere, and you end up spending 4 days of your time as if that's not worth anything, screwing around with some half-butt airline that doesn't work. And you know how you get...
All right. David has no clue what he's talking about here. I've never been on one of these where I've had to change flights 6 times when I'm redeeming a free flight with points or miles or what have you. That is just a ridiculous argument all the way around. I've taken plenty of direct flights that I never pay for personally because I have the miles to pay for them. So Dave has obviously never booked anything with points and miles because this is so inaccurate. There's nothing sweeter to me than booking lodging or booking flights with points and miles because I ain't paying for it. So Dave is incorrect. There's plenty of direct flights that you can get. I don't know what he's talking about here, but we'll keep going.
You know how you get $10,000 worth of points? You spend $1 million on a credit card. That's 1%. I mean, that's just dumber than crap. You spend $100,000 on a credit card to get $1,000 worth of points. All that effort, all that crap, just to get $1,000. You could have made $1,000 in your sleep, man, if you'd have just been smart about something else. So the problem is there's just no upside. And on top of that, when you use plastic credit cards, tons of behavior studies indicate.
I said this earlier.
Multiple behavior studies indicate that you spend more when you use credit cards than when you use cash, or even a debit card. The debit card, you spend more than you do with cash.
All right, so there's a couple things here in this video that are really interesting. He kind of makes an interesting point here. So he's saying that when you use plastic, you do spend 15 to 20% more. And remember, I said that at the beginning of the video that he would say that. But the interesting thing that he rarely mentions, and he did mention it here briefly, is that that also applies to debit cards. You overspend when you use a debit card. However, during his show, he adamantly advocates for the use of debit cards, and that's what he uses himself. So he is self-admitting in a way, not directly, he's self-admitting that he overspends by using a debit card because everybody that uses plastic overspends. So in that sense, he's saying that he himself overspends, which is really interesting. One other really quick thing, just to go back a few seconds in the video right before we hit pause, he mentioned that you have to spend $1 million to get $10,000 cash back or benefit from credit cards. That's absolutely incorrect, all right? There may be everyday spend cards where you get 1% cash back, but there's also strategies that you can put in place to where you're getting large chunks of points and miles based off sign-up offers and meeting minimum spends. He doesn't take this into account at all and is simply looking at everyday spends with the lowest cashback earning cards possible. So he's trying to play worst case scenario. And for the savvy credit card users and those in the points and miles community, that includes you that's watching this video right now, you know that there are ways to earn large lump sums of points and miles based on sign-up bonuses by signing up for different credit cards. Dave never takes this into account. He only looks at the lowest points multiplier on a cashback credit card. So if he were to explore a little bit, he will know that there are better options for everyday spend and that there are massive welcome offers going on right now in the industry that are really enticing people to sign up for these credit cards. So again, he's way off. He kind of is sounding like he doesn't know what he's talking about with credit cards. So I don't like that too much. This is really interesting. Let's keep going. And we only got a couple minutes left in this video.
Least. Because cash, when you spend it, activates the pain centers of the brain and causes you to spend less money. You just, again, multiple studies indicating this. Probably the most famous one was done at MIT, and the study was published in Carnegie Mellon magazine. And so, you just have to think it through. Personal finance is 80% behavior.
That is true.
To win with money
For sure.
is 80% behavior. So to engage in behaviors that have only downside and no upside is a ludicrous process if you're trying to build wealth.
It's a ludicrous argument.
Because you are
It's
not
true.
whipping their butt, Bob. You are not kicking their butt. You are not winning some kind of big financial game. You're not going to have an extra $1 million because you've done this when you retire. I mean, you might have an extra $10,000, but you spent $15,000 worth of time screwing with it.
All right, let me say this. Again, Dave is talking a little bit out of his element here. I can tell you firsthand that we've got travel booked that's upwards of $25,000 worth of travel over the next year on points and miles. You know how much we're paying for that? Zero. So when he says that you work your whole life to get $10,000 worth of value out of these credit cards, it's just not accurate. Again, I'm a Dave Ramsey fan. I'm just telling you that this is way off base and completely inaccurate. Maybe he's just having a bad day. I don't know what it is, but let's keep going. We've got about a minute left.
To keep them from biting you because they are snakes. It is their business. It is a multi-bazillion dollar industry, and they do not make marketing mistakes. They do not put products out that they do not make big money on. They're not evil. They're just better at making money than you are at messing with them. That's what it comes down. You may beat them on the short term, but if you factor in the value of your time, if you put any value on your time at all, you're not winning. Not even close to winning. But you're welcome to try. It's okay. But that's the reasoning you wanted to know. There it is. You spend
All right, that is the end of the video there. I think it was wrapping up. Again, I just think he's way off base with this one when he talks about there being no upside. And he mentions that, you work your whole life to get $10,000 worth of benefit out of a credit card. No, that's not the truth at all. In fact, we've got $25,000 worth of travel on the books right now, and we'll probably add more over the course of the next year that we are not paying a dime for. All right, it's all on points and miles. So you talk about just getting $10,000 over your lifetime. I've got $25,000 worth over the next year. So this is completely inaccurate. Just to give you an example, we've got a 10-night trip to Maui coming up here in the next few weeks, and we paid $0 for 4 flights and for lodging for 10 nights. To say that you don't hardly get any value and that it takes up all this time, I don't know how it takes up all this time. The only time it takes up is me trying to figure out how exciting of a trip I'm gonna have. Talk about a bad problem to have, right? You're running out of time because you're just planning this awesome trip. Give me a break. That doesn't make any sense at all. So, like I said, I'm a Dave Ramsey fan. I drove down to see him. I went through his coaching class. I have taught his course. I know everything about it. I know it inside and out. I've read his books. I've read the books of the other people that work on the Dave Ramsey team. So I don't think that they give incorrect advice all the time, but in this case, I think his credit card argument falls flat because it's just not accurate. I think he has to speak for the majority of people that get into credit card trouble, and that is understandable. If he would just make that statement, I think it would be okay, because about 80% of people do carry a balance on their credit cards every single month. So he's probably just trying to speak to the masses that are out there, the 80% that carry a balance on their credit cards every month, so that he doesn't continue to get these calls about people's lives being ruined because they're in massive credit card debt. So if you enjoyed this video, again, this is something we haven't done on the channel before, let me know down in the comments. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about Dave Ramsey's thoughts on credit cards in general. Do you agree with him? Do you disagree with him? And why? Let me know down in the comments. And if you like this video and you want to see more like this, let me know. I'm a big fan of giving my own opinion on things. I'm an expert in it, in fact, especially when it comes to Dave Ramsey videos, just because I know the information so well. If there's a particular Dave Ramsey video that you want me to react to, put that down in the comments as well. I won't take a look at it beforehand. I don't like to know what's coming up. I was pretty good at predicting what he was going to say here. I missed a couple of things, but overall I had a pretty good idea of what he was going to say. So if you got any more of his videos you'd like me to see, let me know. And if you enjoyed this, found it mildly entertaining or somewhat helpful, don't forget to be awesome. Give me a big thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notifications for, and when you click on the Brandon Boyd Show, click, it's time to check in on everything related to credit cards, points and miles, finance, money, and everything in between, including Dave Ramsey reaction videos, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. See you soon.